What's up, guys? We got another episode of My Favorite Records. Tonight, we got one of my all-time favorite records. You might hear it in the background. This is China White, Dangerzone. And before you ask, this is a real crime scene photo shot by Ed Culver. I love his photography. He's a nice guy. Just awesome. Look at how... It's so creepy. It's such a creepy, cover once you learn that. It's a real murder scene. But the reason I want to talk about China White tonight is I started getting into punk rock in middle school. It was kind of like my own thing that I got into. Of course, I heard it on like Tony Hawk, Pro Skater and stuff like that, and Need for Speed games and all that. But I really started getting into it and the ethos of it and all of that, the attitude. And I found China White and Frank Ruffino, where Frank is right here, I believe. Is one of my all-time, not only guitarists, but punk rock guitarists. He is just awesome, and sadly he passed away, I believe, back in 2013. But it was a bucket list thing for me to learn the title track of this album, Dangerzone, and I did, and that was a really cool accomplishment. But this album, and this band in general, is just so enigmatic, and there's something kind of cool to it about that. There's not much about them. I talked to the second incarnation of this band, had an album in the 90s, and I talked to the singer that was singing during that period, and he said, I was a singer for 16 years, I had a blast, but I don't know why there's not much about the band on the internet either, or around, or no documentaries. I mean, I would kill for a documentary, even though, Frank has sadly passed away nowadays, just because I love this record. I mean, this album, or EP, I mean, if you want to call it that, Dangerzone, that riff, that I tried playing to that song when I was younger over and over and over, and I would only get it like 25%. Again, now I learned it, and I love jamming that riff. I would jam it at soundcheck last year when I was in a band, just because it was perfect. It warms up your fingers, it's so quick. Addiction, I love that song. And Live in Your Eyes. Live in Your Eyes is cool because it has that really slinky bass line, that E to B to C, and then an F sharp G. It's it's great. Daddy's Little Queen. So I also own the record that just came out for The Outsiders. And if you didn't know, The Outsiders were basically the band before China White became a thing. They were from Huntington Beach, kind of Surfside area, the Surfside punks. And they recorded songs like Non-People, Government Cloud. You probably know that one. Non-People, Timeless Arriver. I loved, I think it's called Vidiot Savant, like Idiot Savant, but Vidiot Savant. I love that one. And Pretty Police State, I think it's called. Great riff in that one. And A Good Fight, that one's awesome. So I also have that record, and again, it's like, man, it's like these little nuggets, these little pieces that allude to what China White is, but there's just not a lot on the band, and I don't know why. But I gotta say, this album is just the perfect blend of like metallic guitar riffing, chugging and alternate picking, mixed with just hardcore punk. And that to me is one of my favorite sounds, because I'm a metal guy. I mean, I can dig metal, but it's like Joe Strummer says with punk. Joe Strummer said punk is akin to the mafia, because once you're in, you're in. I think that's what he said. So punk is more my mojo, my sound, my thing, and this record, without a doubt, is one of the best, I think, Frontier releases, for sure. And I gotta say something. The weirdest thing to me is that I think in middle school or high school I uploaded the Addiction 2 album, which is the second incarnation of this band. And in the 90s, I kept seeing these comments on YouTube or like All Music or some shit. And they kept saying, the 90s incarnation sucked and blah, blah, blah. I don't understand that at all. Because if you look on YouTube, yes, there's a band that's called China White that played around the late 80s, 90s. But they were some weird, heavy metal, like amalgamation or something. that's not this China White. Frank Ruffino, Mark Martin, James Rodriguez, Joey Ruffino. That's not the same band at all. And you could tell, but you know, if you're a casual fan, maybe you can. So I uploaded Addiction 2 on YouTube because I got fed up with people saying that. And I had it in my earbuds, you know, almost every day of pretty much middle school going into high school. And I urge you to go listen to it. I mean, if you're a fan of punk rock and you don't know China White, I would say go do your homework. You might like it, you might not, but I guarantee you, I mean, this will be a record that sticks with you just because it's a blend. It's not just another hardcore punk record. It's kind of like when you listen to the Dickies for the first time, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. It's kind of catchy, yet still very quick, and still very punk, and still very funny, you know, tongue-in-cheek, you know, almost. So I urge you to go check out China White Dangerzone and search out my name on YouTube, China White Addiction 2. There was also Addiction 1, but the record company went under, like, right when they released it. Classic punk shit, you know, I guess. So Addiction 2 is more complete. It has some live soundboard footage that sounds pretty good too. If you're a fan, you'll eat that up. But yeah, I mean, go check out China White Dangerzone and check out Ed Culver's photos too. Rest in peace, Frank Ruffino. I want to touch on that a bit too. I don't want to make this video too long. But in middle school, I loved, and I still love, but I loved his guitar playing. I hadn't heard anybody play like guitar like he did before that. Because most of punk rock, it's like open chords and power chords played very quickly, you know, but it kind of reminds me of a band like Battalion of Saints, where actually the guitar is pretty fucking ripping. It's awesome. It's not played sloppy, out of tune, or, you know, like a band like TSOL, where they have interesting guitar parts. Ron's a great guitarist too, another one of my inspirations. So, yeah, I love Frank Ruffino's guitar playing, and the anthem is awesome, you know. I love the fast chugging on that part, where you go to, they tuned, I think, all the way down to D on this record, but, you know, if you think about it, just normal chords, like it's in like the key of B, and you're just chugging along, and he adds all these cool like harmonics and inversions and solo licks, and the guitar is just layered on that song on this record. It's awesome. And Nightlife, or Nightlife, I think it's Nightlife, is another cool record because it has that breakdown, and if you listen in the breakdown in that song, there's a perfectly placed harmonic in there. It's just perfectly placed, you know. It's just so cool. All I can say is, I mean, man, I hope more comes out about China White. If there's a documentary, maybe Mark Martin, the original singer, maybe he makes a post about it, he talks about it. I don't know, maybe this video will get to him, maybe not. You know, I wasn't around then at all, so I just want to know more about these bands. I mean, context is everything. I love this stuff. Still inspires people today. It's a piece of art, much like a painting. You can have a painting on the wall for years to come, or, you know, a piece of jewelry, a ring, a bracelet. I had this made by Done Right Leatherworks in Los Angeles, and he shipped it to me. It's modeled after the one the kid has in the movie Over the Edge, because nobody else had it. It's a piece of art. You know, music is a piece of art too. So anyways, it's a long video. China White Dangerzone, one of my all-time favorite records. Now, not to confuse anybody, sorry. My favorite records, it's not in order. Like, number one is not my number one favorite record. That could change on the week, you know, on a whim. It's just records that are in my collection that I want to talk about, that I, you know, prefer over the other ones that I really have an emotional attachment with. But yes, China White Dangerzone. Go check it out. Check out Ed Culver's photos. He's on the back. Rare photo, Mark Martin playing guitar. I wonder if there's any footage or soundboard out there of him playing and singing. That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I hope more footage comes out of all the bands, like TSOL, all that stuff. People probably have VHSs in their attics and basements, man. Who knows? All right. Peace.